Hi, here at the 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. Pattern Predictions looks out to the next 2 weeks. We do it on a Monday. Today it's issued on a Tuesday. We've honestly just been busy with our private clients because of the snow that's been coming in. We want to take good care of them. We thank everybody who signed on board as a private snow client as well. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive in to the pattern here in the next 2 weeks. I've been starting out in these pattern predictions the last couple of weeks with 500 millibar height. If you don't know what that is, I'll make it real easy for you. Basically, if you took a barometer, let's say at the surface it's 1,000 millibars, right? You go up, and as you go up in the sky, the pressure goes down because there's less air above you. You need to go up about 18,000 feet on average to get that barometer register 500 millibars, but there's a trick. You see, if the air is real dense, it's cold. Cold air is more dense. You don't have to go up as high. If the air is less dense, you have to go up higher. That's warm air. So we can color that on here, the warm colors for warm average temperature in the atmosphere, the purples for the colder average temperature, and there's the big polar vortex, the housing of cold air that's sitting across Canada. Well, as we look at the pattern and what plays out over the course of the upcoming 2 weeks, in the beginning, you do get some disturbances that dig in. Now, here's the thing. We looked at this last week, looking out to the next 2 weeks, and said, hey, at least you're in a pattern where you still have a chance. You're still in the game. You get these disturbances. Now, as you'll hear about in our Insights video, which looks at the weather over the next several days rather than 2 weeks, this one may bring up enough warmth that it's rain, not snow, in the southern half of New England on Friday. But nonetheless, you're in the game. So here's what I'm going to tell you. As we get out through the upcoming weekend, you're still in the game later Sunday and a Monday, a disturbance that's digging in, and next week, you're still in the game. But let's be honest, all right? Let's be completely upfront. This is not a snow lover's pattern. If you're looking for a blockbuster storm of the century setup, you're not getting it out of this. But if you just want to get some more snow on the ground because you love winter, you're probably going to get it, at least from time to time. Here's why. Because you can still bring in northern stream disturbances. And the big thing, though, is you are on the battle between cold to the north and warm to the south. You're doing that aloft, and as I'll show you in just a couple of moments, you're also doing it at the surface. So to be on that clash of cold and warm over the next 2 weeks at least gives you the chance. It means that as disturbances go by, there's going to be a sweet spot in here somewhere. And if you're under the sweet spot of any given storm, you've got the accumulating snow out of it. I wouldn't get too worked up if you love winter and don't want to see a big, warm, high pressure like this. Wouldn't get too worked up. That's late in the period. Oftentimes, it doesn't quite verify like this. The cold air holds on longer and stronger than initial predictions would warrant. So I wouldn't be too worked up over a big warm coming in by the middle of February. We'll see. Meanwhile, jet stream forecast. Here we go. Starting to get a little bit of southern stream involvement. Some moisture and warmth that comes up again, maybe a little too much. Gets things going over to rain instead in southern New England this coming Friday. But what I think is interesting is that you're right on that battle we looked at between warm and cold aloft. You're going to be right under the jet stream. As we go out to next week, you're ripping the jet in off the Pacific. So you're bringing in Pacific moisture and Pacific energy. And you're going to be pointing that where? Right into the eastern United States, right? So it comes down to what I mentioned, the sweet spot. Where with each of these events is the sweet spot going to match up? We look at, we'll be near it for the temperatures aloft. Well, here you go. Temperatures at the surface, ground level. Can we get in that cold-warm battle? And just on the cold side of it, if you want snow, over the next 2 weeks. Let's play things through. For the most part, yeah. For the most part, we are right near that battle. Now, there are times the cold and dry air will win again. That may be the case we get somewhere around the 4th of February. But then you're back into that battle zone again. It's not a bad thing to be on the battle zone. Yes, it does open the door to the chance that you may rain, not snow on some occasions, but you can't play the game if you're not in the battle zone, especially in a pattern like this. It's not a blockbuster storm pattern. You need to be in that battle zone to crank stuff out. Notice precipitation forecast next 10 days. You are not in the heaviest precipitation of the eastern United States, but again, you get into enough of it that you add it up when you line it up with the legend. Okay, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch over the next couple of weeks of melted precipitation. So in terms of snow, you're going to add that up too. As a matter of fact, if you watch the next 10 days go by, you'll see some in northern New England and northern New York, for that matter, end up with 1 to 2 feet of snow that comes over the next 10 days. Not the case in southern. Why don't I zoom this in a little bit more, right? Because, look, it's not going to be right. If I zoom it in, it defeats the purpose of pattern predictions. I'm not professing to tell you every detail in the next 2 weeks. What we're doing is getting an idea for the general pattern so we know what to expect. Here's a really good example of that, okay? I show you the 14-day percent chance of precipitation. We did this last week. And last week, this week that we're going into looked a lot like what next week looks like now, which is to say you had a lot of days with elevated precipitation chances. Obviously, it's not going to do something every day this week, and now you really can parse out the days that are most likely to see precipitation. Same thing's going to happen going into next week. It looks like probably late Sunday or Sunday night and Monday, you're going to get an event that'll come in there. Better chance of snow out of that one for southern New England than you have on Friday. And then next week, you see an elevated chance right now. Not all those are going to verify, but you also see Tuesday, Wednesday, probably nothing. Better chance you get toward the end of the week. And who knows, maybe at the end of next weekend. We seem to be doing that recently, right? So that's what you want to be watching in our app, which gives you the 14-day forecast, is watch to see how the percent chance of precipitation in those later time frames changes day by day as you get closer to it, all right? In the meantime, you can get the app totally free. Noyes is 1 degree outside weather on the App Store and Google Play. Don't forget, if you like this video and want more like it, subscribe to us right here on YouTube. I'd say about 75%, I think it is, of you watch these videos and aren't subscribed, so sign up. See you again later.